Okay, it's already 1:05. Wait a minute. Okay, yeah, no, yeah, we are good. So yeah, welcome everyone. I hope you can hear myself. So welcome to the thank you, Johan. So welcome to this monthly meeting of the SolStack testing and release working group. Today we have a new participant on this working group, which is a new colleague from SUSE. He's Alexander Grau, so I will initially give the stage to him just for a quick introduction. So yeah, please, Alexander.
Hi, yes, I'm new in the Salt team at SUSE. I've been with the company for 2.5 years already, working on different teams before that. Yeah, and I'm now working more with Salt. I've used it in a different team before, but now I'm working closer to improving Salt itself and working with Jochen and Pablo.
Nice. Yeah, more people. Woohoo. Great. So yeah, so if you remember during last, well, first of all, I hope that you all are staying safe on this, on this COVID-19 situation. Yeah, so please stay safe and at home, and hopefully, yeah, this will pass as soon as possible. So yeah, if you remember last meeting, what we did was to basically bring all the old cards from the old Trello board that is not valid anymore. So we have now in our Salt community testing and release board. Let me just share my screen maybe. 1 second, sure. Which one I want to share is okay. Can you see my screen now? The community board? Okay, perfect. So yeah, what we did was to basically put the board on a actual state that reflects the reality. We moved some older cards, and yeah, we wrote this introduction for people, for newcomers, so they can have some information here about how we are working on this working group and how to proceed in case that they want to start working on some of the topics that we have. We went last time over all the goals that we defined. We talked a little bit about them. And we had some actionable cards on the to-do. I promise you that I will be creating some other cards based on the goals that we set, but it was impossible for me. So yeah, I will try to do it this time. But in any case, the one that we have at the moment, I see that there was some progress on Johan's about the integration of Salt Toaster with the upstream test. So maybe Johan can just talk us a little bit on what's the progress on this car and what's the status right now. Please be so nice.
Yeah, I can try to, but actually the one that can talk about that is Pedro. Sorry to put you on the spot.
No, not a problem. Yeah, so actually Johan pinged me and I took quite some time to reply. As you might have noticed, Salt has been blackened, and that has created an impact on every pull request that is open. And of course, the PyTest one is massive, so I'm still rebasing that and been quite busy with that. This issue was pending Docker containers. Since we are now merging into master, our SRE team is working towards creating a new set of golden images so that we can test Sodium on with updated packages and all of that. And I helped a bit on that process. And in that process, I restarted to work on the golden Docker containers. If you go to Docker Hub under the Salt Stack organization, you will see some containers called CI, the distribution name, the version. And one of them is also CI-staging and the distribution name and the version. Those are like the preliminary images. Those still cannot be considered official because we are still working on the pipeline to automate that. But that will be one of the blockers that will go away with this issue once we get that work done. We have also been thinking on how to speed up our tests, and we've been doing some in-house investigation, and we are going to try some things to see if we can get the merge times faster than they are today. Today, we can wait up until 10 hours for Windows to finish. And on the Linux side, about 2 hours, I think. I think that's more or less the fastest one. And we want to improve that. And so while we've been tackling that, I've actually thought of one way where we can integrate Salt Toaster. And that is likely the place where we test the artifacts generated from Salt. And by artifacts, I mean, right now we just run the test suite, and before the release, we create the packages, we run a set of automated tests and manual tests against those packages. And we want to automate that process, and we even want to include that process in the CI pipeline, not on a pull request, but on a weekly or bi-weekly build basis. And Toaster might be a good fit for testing against multiple versions of Salt, different topologies. So this is back on the radar, although I'm not giving much thought right now, as we want to first get an improved or a faster test suite so that the whole community can provide pull requests and get feedback faster if they are passing or not. But this is back into the radar. That's more or less on what Jochen is waiting on me for.
Yeah,
that's actually awesome. I feel like an awesome news. So there are ways we could integrate that and fix some of the problem for setting up scenarios or complex scenarios or complex topology. That's an awesome thing, I think. Please, Jochen.
Yeah, you're perfectly right on that. That's a use case that is currently covered by the Toaster, and what we are actually testing. So we are testing different versions of the master against different versions of minions. So yeah.
So even better, you already have that expertise to set that up. So
yep.
That's awesome.
Great. Well, one thing I missed to mention is that if there is any new announcement that you want to make from the Salt core team to the community here, just in case that there is something on your side.
For those who missed, we merged the pull requests that blackened Salt. The goal with us switching to using black is on and off we would see a bug fix which would contain a line, and that would be the fix, but then the formatting would change on the whole file. Or for example, someone would contribute code and SaltStack had its own formatting guidelines, and we would have to ask to change so that the code could be written in a standard way. And basically with black, we just remove that opinionated formatting from the Salt code base. And we actually by using Precommit, we actually bring the failures to the developer laptop as soon as they commit. That does slow down a little bit committing code, but in the end, you would have to open up a request, and then it would fail, and you would have to put your code, and then until that passed. So the ultimate goal is to remove that from the equation and freeing the core team or anyone reviewing pull requests from the formatting aspect and just concentrating on the code. An added benefit from that is that the Salt code base is, by these days, is massive, and when you opened a module, the formatting would probably be different from another module that you would be working on, so it would be harder to read code throughout the Salt code base, and this standardizes it. In the end, and because right now the core team is the persons reviewing pull requests mostly, we want to facilitate that and free ourselves to do other work and feature work and bug fixes and not spend that much time reviewing pull requests. So yeah, that's like the biggest announcement that we have from this week. Apart from the fact that we are now merging pull requests into the master branch. We have gone out of the code freeze. Woohoo, yes. And so that's big news too.
Great, yeah, definitely. Jochen, I'm not sure if you want to mention also something on that regard.
No. I don't know if I have an announcement to make, but yeah, you already said that there are pre-commit hooks that should be used. But I guess there is also a test that runs and validates if the code that is committed is applying to the flag guidelines, right?
Mm-hmm. I'm not sure if that question was for Pedro, maybe. If you get the question.
For anybody that knows about it. I haven't checked.
I haven't checked either. So
yeah.
Not really, no.
Pedro, are you still here?
Yes, I was muted, sorry. We didn't.
Okay.
So I was talking to none of you guys. So right now, the answer is no. Okay. But after today, the answer will be yes. We have an open pull request that adds a build that checks for the pre-commit hooks and will flag as the build failed if one of the hooks fails. Mm-hmm. That should be merged either today or first thing tomorrow morning.
All right. Yeah, that's good.
Mm-hmm. Nice.
I mean, I'm still cursing you guys, but
you're not alone, and we do recognize the impact that this has on everyone that has an open pull request against Salt, and in the end, we consider that, and in the end, and in the long run, it will make the Salt project better, and that's like the reason that had more weight. Yes, we are causing troubles now for everyone, but it would be either now or further down the line. So that would have to happen.
Yeah. So the biggest problem that we will be facing is not actually rebasing the pull requests and working on that, but when we move to the next release, we have to rebase all of the patches that we're shipping on top of the changed code base, and we still have to think about how to do that.
Okay, now I understand. And this is because SUSE maintains a long-term version of Salt. Yes.
Yeah.
Okay, I understand the cursing.
Different topic.
Just out of curiosity, would you? I mean, I guess some of the patches would have problems, but wouldn't the changes that you backport, wouldn't it just be like the diffs would just be black, right? You wouldn't have to backport the whole
that's
change.
the thing that's the thing that we have to think about, because if we take changes from a future version, that would be a blacked code base. Then we have to decide, do we undo the changes? So single quotes and so on, and take that in. Then we would get a problem in the future. If we take the change like it is, so it's blacked and take it in, and then we get a weird code base with a mixed formatting, and yeah, haven't decided yet.
Say, well, there already is mixed formatting in the Salt code base, or at least there was before when it's black. So
yeah, we will need to figure out how we do that, because also the pain is at the time of rebasing all the patches that we have for the new code base, where all the patches and the commits are going to have conflicts. And we have like 100 of patches on top of the release or something like that. So yeah, it's going to be a little painful, but yeah, we will see how we manage to do that.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, the change is welcome in the sense that we are now better than before. But yeah, of course, that the change was a little bit disruptive.
Yeah.
We are aware of that, and I guess the switch to PyTest, and there are a lot of changes going into the test suite will also be another set of headaches for you guys, because you maintain the long-term version for SUSE. But again, in the long run, this is to get us to a better place than where we are today.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, and nice. we understand that. Don't worry.
Yeah, definitely. Okay. So I'm not sure if you have any question of any topic, maybe some of the participants that you want to bring up into the discussion for today, apart from this Black and Salt. Yeah, please speak if you have anything. If not, what I'm going to do is I will go simply, well, of course, if you want to work on some, or do some progress on some of the epics that we have, the current epics have some checklist items that are actually the actionable car or task that we should be doing on each one of the goals. So my idea, and that's what I promised last time, and I didn't do that, but I'm going to do that this time, is to basically move those checklist items and create issues from them, so we could have cards for people can assign them, and it's easier for tracking the work. Sorry. But just as a reminder, we can see here that in the goal of makes the release process more transparent, we first learned about the new progress, the new process that we have for the release. Then we have document and improved documentation about the release process. I think there is already something done around that regard. So maybe you can just update and put some links to the documentation. And yeah, identify the pain points of the release process and research on improving the points in 5.0. And create, if that's the case, a proposal for improvement. On the one about the test suite results reliability, we basically, check here for identify which tests are unstable, investigate why, and eventually make some PRs on that regard. So I will basically throw in the initial item from each one of the epic as a new car here, because these are supposed to be done step by step. On the toaster side, we have the progress from Jochen. So I guess that we will update some cars soon on that regard, according to the feedback that we got from Pedro. And the next one, latest one, is this one about improve the performance of the test suite execution. So yeah, identify the tests that are running slow, investigate, create PR for improvement. Oops, sorry. And then about parallelization. I know, and we have also discussed it here on some time, that currently the test is somehow modular in some aspects. So the idea here is to see how we could improve this a little bit more. How to be able to not, let's say, being redundant when we are doing testing. So at the time of running the test suite, we could just try to isolate the things that we are testing and prevent, for example, to instantiate the whole stack every time that we want to test an execution module or something like that, to gain performance on the execution. So yeah, that's more or less the task that we have, the status of the board. Yeah, I'm not sure if you have some question, something that is not clear for you, some requests from us. Yeah.
So I can share some interesting statistics around the test suite performance. I went through and as part of some work that we're doing internally this week, and I looked at the test times in Jenkins. And what's very interesting is if you look at all of the tests that take less than 1 second to run, that's actually about 90% of the tests that we run in each of our platforms. So about 90% of them run in under a second, and that ends out being, I think on all the platforms, it's under 10 minutes to run all of those tests. So what we actually see is that most of the tests that we run take less than 10 minutes. The rest of that extremely long time is found in the remaining 10 to 20% of tests. So that's a particularly interesting fact that I've discovered. And I've also got a list of all of the tests that never ran in less than 1 second. There's about 1,000 tests that across the different platforms where they actually run, and they never ran in under a second. So, you know, if it ran in 5 seconds on CentOS and half a second on Debian or vice versa, then I would, you know, kick that one out. But the list of ones that every single platform that they ran on, they took more than a second to run. I've got a list of those, so I can share that somewhere. But it's yeah, it was very eye-opening to see that out of our tests, and we really have about 10 minutes worth of tests, and then a very, very long time in everything else.
Yeah, that's actually a really nice finding, because yeah, definitely it's something that we could try to tackle. Why those tests takes that long? If we could improve them somehow or wherever, and that would basically impact heavily on the performance and the time that the suite is taking for a run. So that's a really, really nice finding. Wayne, if you have some numbers or you have some document, it would be really awesome if you could attach that link or wherever to the Epic card about the performance. So we have that information there. Yeah, and when I have some time for refactoring and created the actionable card, maybe we could start by, yeah, since we have already this output, taking a look at those that see what they are doing, and yeah, see if we discover something. Yeah. Okay. Yeah, we still have this one. I was pinged also in a work in progress PR that we have around this batch async code 14. So yeah, I will also concentrate on that one to finish it up. There is a bunch of code which involve the batch async client, and also there is some changes on the IPC and transport IPC files. So I would like to bring that up for discussion. We still have that code deployed, and we are already using that heavily, all the batch async client. But yeah, we want to port that and upstream that as soon as possible. So yeah, something on my queue. And yeah, and that's basically, I think, all what I have for this meeting today. Yeah, just let's think if we have something. If anyone wants to share something else, then it's time. If not, then I will proceed to wrap up the meeting. Okay. Then I would say that's all for today. Yeah, as always, you know where you can contact us. I will do my work on the board as promised this time. And yeah, I hope that you all are safe and will keep safe yeah, during this next month until we meet at all again next time. Yeah, so thank you very much for attending, and yeah, hopefully the best. Ciao, ciao.
Thank you.
Bye. See you.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
Bye.